Hey, you guys. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. You know, we're going to do a little talk and then a reading and then a meditation. So hopefully you can stick with us and do that. And if you don't make it through the whole video, I'd love it if you just go to my YouTube channel. And I'm having some fun over there and trying to build it. And YouTube's an interesting beast. So Valley and Beyond, Project Awakening, David M. It's my YouTube channel, and subscribe. Thanks. It's my little pitch for YouTube. Usually when I speak like this in the morning, or whenever I get to it lately, I speak about what's up, what's happening, if I can, or, what else could I speak of? I don't have a plan. And so it's just, what comes often. And this morning I thought to talk about, what was happening for me. I kind of woke up grumpy. And, and I had kind of crazy dreams, and I woke up grumpy. I woke up like, fuck, what am I doing here? And I'm actually over visiting with my brother who had a heart attack, and I'm spending time with him, and I've been here for a little over a week, and it's been an adventure for sure. And so that's how I woke up, grumpy. And so I thought, and it took a little while. I messaged a buddy, and he didn't respond the way I wanted, and I kind of was grumpy with him, so then the click didn't go on long. It was like click. Oh, what's going on? And I was in it. I could see that my ego was up, and and so what I wrote was, just because we're aware that we're not our thoughts, and we've had, moments of awakening and bliss and peace and love and that we know that that's there, that isness is there. It doesn't mean that ego won't arrive, and it seems to have like legs of its own and a mind of its own in a way, and all boom, me, I can think I'm that again. That's me. I'm my thoughts. Poor David. Oh gosh, why is this happening? Or why is it? So it can happen. So it does. So just watch. And I think some of it came too this morning because I was on Facebook and I was scrolling and I was reading some conspiracy stuff, and I was like, oh Jesus, maybe that's true, I was in it, and then some contrary views to that came, and I saw that. I was like, oh gosh. So I was in, which is all in the mind. It's all in the mind. It's and there I was. So I just wanted to share, that can happen, and the trick, of course, is to, well, for me, when I'm on the beam with I'll call him my higher power, God, and I drop into that space, it's like, oh, and I'm there. There's nothing to be concerned about. There's nothing missing. The promises in the big book says we'll intuitively know, how to deal with situations that used to baffle us. And it says we'll know peace, and we'll know serenity, and we'll comprehend the word serenity, and it's just like, wow, they're amazing. We'll lose our fear of people and economic insecurity. All of that stuff happens when we're living in this moment, when we're living in connection with the world, with higher power. For me, I want to share this, and I've shared it often, is that I had a difficult time. I didn't realize it until it shifted. I didn't realize that I'd had a difficult time most of my life with the concept of God, because I was brought up in a Christian teaching that taught me that God was separate. That God was separate, and that I had to earn the relationship in some way, and in a way that's true because I was living from the ego, so this oneness is in a way separate from the ego, but not. They had to make up these stories, these metaphors, so that we could try to get past the mind. And I understand it now, but I didn't. When I was like, ego had me in the little trap, of that I was never going to be worthy of this relationship with a higher power. And then the realization came. And it came really out of, some of it was a lot of pieces, but one of the big pieces in We Agnostics, if you've ever read the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, in We Agnostics, chapter 4, Bill said God either is or he isn't. Either he's everything or he's nothing. I'm like, wow. And I realized that, I wasn't my story. I wasn't my fears. I wasn't my anger. I wasn't my, my belief systems. All those things that I thought I was. I wasn't even a man in a sense. I am in a man's body, but I beyond that, and all the attachments to all of those things, and so what am I? Well, I'm part of the everything. I am. If God is the tree, God is me. We're all one. And the oneness awareness came. It was like, oh, wow. Just feel that. And yet sometimes, this ego can raise its head, and it gets me. I can be angry. And sometimes it's almost funny. I laugh. It's like, oh, look at that. Because ego to me is like my adolescent kid, that wants his way. Don't you know who I am? Pushing. And so sometimes he makes me laugh because he's like, oh, look at you, banging around there, trying to, make the world bend to your will. Anyway, so just recognize that if you've had this awareness, if you've realized that you're, number one, not your thoughts, you're not your story, you're not who you work for or the job that you do, you're not, somebody's mother or somebody's father. No, we have all these roles, we do them, that, we live in that world, and yet that's not who we are. Just when that realization comes home, there's freedom. It's just like, oh my God. Oh, what was I trying to do? We're struggling in that world, right? Never satisfied. Okay, so that, by the way, is available in the 12 steps of AA and NA and CA. It seems like many of us think, oh, those 12 steps are just for those addicts and alcoholics. Oh, baby. There's a possibility there for all of us. And I mean, it's not the only way. It really isn't. There's many paths to this. Many paths. And just that Bill laid out such a simple way of addressing it, and helping us to see that we were powerless in that world. Here we were trying to manage life in its millions of scenarios, and struggling with it, and realizing that, that we were not that, and then not knowing what to do, and the pain of that realization sometimes drove us to drugs and alcohol, and now it drives me to coffee. I'm just kidding, but I do love my coffee. There are many pleasures here now, in this world. We got to be, it's like a amusement park in a way. The whole thing, we don't take it too seriously, have a lot of fun, right? Can be and have and do whatever we want here. I used to say, it's funny, I said this long before I understood it, that we were at a huge banquet hall, and the table was laden with everything. It was the most amazing feasts, and most of us were eating scraps off the floor. And I used to say that before I really understood it, that we are. This is an amazing place that we're in. And we can have and be and do whatever we want. And the truth is, there's nothing needed. We can also not, we can just live a very humble life and enjoy each moment in the humble life. Because there's no measurement. There's no, this is better than that. I think it's Sunday, the 22nd of November, so I'm going to read this little thing here. I went out and bought some drugstore enhancers, and because the print is very small. So this book that I read from every day was written by I forget his name, and but in 1954, when the 12-step program world was very new and very young. 54 was only just still a teenager, I think 19 or so, and the book had only been published for 15 years, and so this is very early in the days. And this fella who wrote this book, it's a little patriarchal. It was a kind of a different world then, wasn't it? And a lot of the change in the world has come because of this program. Believe it or not, it's really become a cornerstone of growth that's transcended all teachings, and so lots of changes come, and a lot of the freedom that's come in the world is because of this. Okay, thought for the day. I have got rid, he says, of most of my boredom. Boredom. Can't even imagine boredom. One of the hardest things that a new member of AA or the 12-step world has to understand is that he can stay sober and not be bored. Oh, I see, I understand now. Drinking was always the answer to all kinds of boring people or boring situations. But once we have taken up the interests of the 12-step world of AA, once we have given it our time and enthusiasm, boredom will not be a problem anymore. It says it should not be a problem to you. I edit a bit. A new life opens up before you that can be always interesting. Yes, sobriety should give you so many new interests in life. Sobriety will give you many new interests in life that you shouldn't have time to be bored, that you won't have time to be bored. And he asked the question, this is the thought for the day, have I got rid of the fear of being bored? Yes. There's no boredom in the moment. Impossible in the moment. If we're here, if we're truly here, there's no boredom in the moment. How can we be bored? Boredom's always about the future. It really is. We drop in. You're not bored. You're alive. It's beautiful. No boredom in the moment. Meditation for the day. If I have not charity, I have become a sounding brass or a tinkering cymbal. If I have not charity, I have become as sounding brass or a tinkling cymbal. Charity means to care enough about your fellow man to really want to do something for him. A smile, a word of encouragement, a word of love goes winged on its way, simply though it may seem, while the mighty words of an orator fall on deaf ears. While the mighty words of an orator fall on deaf ears. Use up the odd moments of your day in trying to do some little thing to cheer up your fellow man. Boredom comes from thinking too much about yourself. There we go. Prayer for the day. I pray that my day may be brightened by some little act of charity. I pray that I may try today to overcome the self-centeredness that makes me bored. Awesome. Hey, you guys, good morning. So what we've been doing lately, it's a little chat, whatever's happening, kind of in my awareness, and that I hope is helpful, and then that reading that I just did, and then a little meditation. So we're going to sit for a couple of minutes. I'm thinking maybe 10, and I'll do a bit of guided, so a little guided meditation. Would you like to join me for that? Okay, here we go. Yeah. So find yourself a comfortable spot. Coffee's still hot. Find a comfortable spot. If you can, a chair, or on the floor, on one of my little meditation stools if you have one. And make sure you're sitting up. And find if you do this laying down, it leads to sleep. So let's do it sitting up. So we're going to drop in to this moment with our breath. Often we don't even realize that we're not living in the moment, that we're living in the mind, that we're living in thoughts or thinking mind. We don't realize until we actually feel into the moment. We're like, oh my gosh. Because my experience in the moment is quite still, like stillness, isness, indescribableness. So we're going to try to go there. And so we do this through meditating or sitting together every day. It becomes we recognize it. It's like, oh, there it is. So use the breath to bring you into this moment. Use the breath to be here now. And watch the thoughts. Thoughts like to think. That's what they do. They're thinking thoughts. Just watch them and let them go. They like to think about relationships or food or work or sex or whatever they have in their little thought bank to get your attention. Just let them go or watch them. Not to be against them, nothing to do with them. Just don't give them any energy. And they'll quiet. Just drop in. Things will quiet down. Be aware of your body. You're in a body. We are not our bodies. We have bodies. beautiful gift that our bodies are. We have them. In the moment, we just surrender all identities, all attachments, all concepts. Just be here now. Nowhere to go, nothing to get, no next, just now. If there are any sounds, just include them. Sometimes there will be. Just include them. So just come back. Just thank you so much for joining me this morning, and we'll see you tomorrow. Okay. Thanks a lot. Cheers. Bye.